morning from the beach, somewhere down the south of the UK coast, somewhere called Brighton, which is pretty much an hour 15 minutes from London. Saturday morning, first thing in the morning, I decided to drive down here to photograph some beauties. But the main point of this new video is to talk about filters, neutral density filters. I've got a lot of questions regarding what are they for, how to use them, which ones to pick up, which brand to choose as well. So there's multiple questions around this question of filters. So to respond to the first main question, filters, neutral density filters are here to help you producing long exposures photography, or just to cut the sun depending of the situation, the light conditions, right? So as you can see, this is Brighton old pier, which has been destroyed under the flames unfortunately years ago, and there's not much left to it. Here, this pier has been shot multiple times, and then it's always shot pretty much from the same angle, which is looking into it. Some of the remains have been completely eaten by the sea. There's a gap between the right hand side of the building and the left hand side of the building, which I'm not really keen to have in my frame. So I'm trying to find a new angle where I can get a different spirit of the remain of the building. So I quite like this composition from here. I'm going to give it a go, and I'm going to talk through the reason why we need filters, especially with a day like today. I've checked the weather forecast before turning up, obviously, and it was supposed to be cloudy. Don't see much clouds today, which is not ideal for me. So missed sunrise because I thought it would be cloudy. I could see this beautiful pink purplish skies rising up while I was driving down with no clouds whatsoever. I was very disappointed, I have to say. And now that I'm here, I'm not gonna quit. So I'm gonna try to see what I can do with this light, because it's getting harsher and harsher. It's 8 AM in the morning, so the light is not strong yet, but it will be stronger during the day if there is no clouds coming in. The problem with the harsh sun is creating some harsh shadows as well. And the differences between the tones are much extremes, which I'm not keen on for the type of minimalist photography I am doing. So that kind of weather I would not normally shoot, but because I'm here, I'm going to try to see what I can do. Which lens do you go for? Well, it depends on the composition you want to achieve, really. In my case, I'm going to do a panorama. Choice of the lens. Because I want to get close to my subject, my 24 to 70 is a bit too short. So I'm going to switch to my 70 to 200 millimeters, which is 2.8. Right, so I've got my composition ready. I'm locking my focus points now in manual. I'm applying my filters, and I'm adjusting the time of exposure. I focused on f8 on this one, and for example with a 10 stop filters plus a 9 stop gradient, I'm running a test shot to see the result. The idea here would be to try to get a minute exposure at least, to get the water very smooth. There's a bit of motion and wind on the sea, and what I want is a very smooth water with no details onto it. I want to be as minimalist as possible, and all the ripples and effect on the water are a distraction for me and my picture. So what I want to do is slick at the water, get this milky water, and be able to focus better on the subject itself. Here we are. Now this is what I've got, and this is exactly what I want. So I've got at the minute only 13 seconds exposure, which is far too short because of the intensity of the light. If I would have some clouds, then I would be able to go to a minute with that kind of setup. So two options: increase the depth of field or reduce the ISOs, which is another option. At the moment I'm ISO 100, so I'm going to try a shot at ISO 50. By doing so, I reduce the amount of light getting into the actual picture, and I will have to expand the time of exposure to compensate the lack of light. There is a variety of filters. You've got the square filters, which works with a filter holder, where you slide your filters into the holder, like so, and you clip this onto your lens. This is one type of filter. These are called ND filters, neutral density filters. And what do they act for? They act like sunglasses. They're dark, and there is different type of opacities. You got 3 stops, 6 stops, 10 stops, sometimes 9 stops depending on the brand. I've got two different examples here. They're the same, but they're not the same opacity. One's going to block the light stronger than that one. This is a 10 stop, this is a 6 stops. Okay, so 2 different type of density for different types of light and then weather forecast. These are called gradient filters, soft gradient filters. You've got harsh gradient filters, you've got soft gradient filters. There's different densities. As you can see, some are much lighter than others. Some are much darker than others. So you use those ones, depending on the light conditions again. And this is to kill the light of the sky or the light of the water, depending how you slide them into the holder. Depending on the subject, the light conditions, and what is it that you want to try to achieve. And the beauty with this holder is you can adjust the height of the gradient, how far you want to cover the picture. Do you want just a soft part of it? Do you want a full part of the image to be covered? You can adjust depending on which section of the image is overexposed. And then you can combine those two together with a plain gradient filter. This one covers the entire surface the same way, whereas this one will obviously have different part of the image covered. You add the 2 of them together, and then you adjust where you want the light to be stopped or blocked with this. Okay? You can add 3 filters in a holder, for example. Some brand might allow more, some brand might allow less. And now we are moving on to a different type of filter, which are the circular filters. I've been lucky enough to be able to work with Freewell recently, and they gave me a massive discount, which is a 10% discount of any product on their website. So if you are interested to look at what they're doing, they've got very good, reliable products online, and they sell this little package. For example, you got everything in one, which is absolutely perfect. You got a good leather case, very strong and robust, very protective, compact enough to fit in your pocket, which is ideal. The beauty with this one is this is magnetic. You've got little rings that you screw on your lens, and those rings are magnetic, which means any filter you apply are ready to be attached to your lens. Very easy, very reliable. Any density filters as well. Boom, and you can add as many as you want. 2, 3. Okay, I've got here a 10 stop neutral density filter as well as a 6 stop. This could be very handy if you are facing a day like today where the sun is very harsh and you are struggling with one filter. Then you might want to apply multiple filters to block the light and get a longer exposure time. As I said earlier, my 10 stop was not enough to get a 1 minute exposure. So what I might do then in that case is add a 10 stop as well as a 3 or 6 stops, depending on the kind of result I want to achieve. The other beauty with this is that I've got a polarizer as well, part of my kit, and I've got a cap, a protective cap for the lens, which means once you want to move around, if you don't want to unscrew everything, just protect your lens with the cap. Super easy, it's not going anywhere, it's very robust and strong. The magnet is super strong. Everything is well maintained and contained in this pocket. You even have a beautiful little wiper for your lens, which is very handy. Always clean your lens before any kind of photography activity, because you don't want any dust, any marks, any spray water on it, or any sea spray on your lenses. This little compartment here allows you to store more than what is already in there, which is super great. I've got a UV filter as well that came with the set. And then you can just read the numbers of stop written on the edges of the filter to know exactly which one is which. So now I've got my 10 stop, I've got my 6 stop, and I've got my 3 stop filter. And all of these will be used depending on the light condition during the day. For sunrise and sunset, I might go for a lighter filter because the light is very soft and naturally and less bright than daytime. And for daytime like today when it's very sunny, then I might go for a 10 stop plus a 3 or 6 stop on the top of that. The only thing with those circular magnetic filters, you could not apply an actual gradient as such. You have gradients, circular gradients, but you can't adjust where the gradient starts and stops because it's part of the actual disc. So for me, if I need gradient filters, I'd rather use my square filters because I know I can apply any gradient on the top of that and adjust them the way I want or I need. Easy. And this is what you end up having. These holders are holding the filters, the ND filters that I'm clipping on the top of the lens, and boom, this is on. That's not going to go anywhere until I pinch out and then untighten it. But once it's there, it's there. A day like today when the sky is super bright and I want to kill the light, I'm using one of my ND gradient filter. This is a 9-stop filter, which means very dark, and what I do, I slide it on the top of my previous filter right here. As you can see, it's now been holding, and I can adjust the height accordingly, sliding up and down depending how dark I want the sky to be. If my horizon is pretty much in the middle, then I might start the dark section on the edge of the horizon and then lift it up or down depending on how much of the subject I want it to be covered by the gradient. In the situation where I have a side effect, which means most of my image is well balanced, but this left hand side has too much light coming from an angle, then nothing stops me from moving or shifting my actual holder to be able to cut the light where it needs to be cut. It's the same thing with the sun. Let's imagine you're on the beach, it's a very dark day, it's overcast, but the sun is bouncing the light too harsh. Then I would flip my gradient and use it to cut the light on the actual sun itself and leave the rest bright. So these filters are very flexible. You can use them the way you want them to be used, and you can use them by rotating them accordingly. As I mentioned earlier, you can add multiple filters on the top of each other. I've got a 10 stop, I can add a 3 stops or a 6 stops if I want to. And here we go. Talking about my freewheel filters, circular magnetic filters, the beauty with that is my ring is already here. When I want to use my square filters, I just have to screw on the top of my existing one my second ring, where I can screw my actual square filters, like so. Done. If, let's imagine, I don't need any gradient filter, I just have to unscrew this one ring, I can straight away apply one of my magnetic filters on the top. Very easy, very handy. It's very quick to use, super practical with this little pocket, which is absolutely great. As I said, I can lock it, put it in my pocket, fits in a normal coat. So no need to get special pockets for these. And worst case scenario, let's imagine all your pockets are full. There's a little carabiner on the top that will help you attaching it to any way you want. So I can put it down onto my actual tripod, hang it there if I want to, and it's always available. I've got a little hook here, the back of my tripod, where I can attach it. Super handy, super easy. One little advice though, if let's imagine you have a lens like this that is sliding out, any zoom lens sliding out, and you're doing long exposures and you want to do multiple shots, but the light is changing halfway through because it's sunset or sunrise, and you know the light conditions are evolving very quickly, then do not pull out, because the magnet is so strong, you will pull your lens first before you remove the filter, and you will lose your actual focus point. So if you want to take it out while you're shooting or while you're doing a set of shots, I would recommend putting it down towards the bottom like this, and none of my lenses slide out. So make sure when you slide it on, boom, put it towards the base, and that's it. And my zoom is at the same spot. The other thing you can do as well is you have, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, you have two buttons on your lens. One is saying smooth and one is saying tight. If I put it on tight, it's very hard to slide my zoom out. And that could be a good thing to use when you do that kind of manipulation on your camera while shooting. If I leave it on smooth, it's very easy to shift. I can put it very easily with my fingers. When I put it on tight, then it's very hard to put it out. So that would be another way to avoid modifying the actual focus point on your camera. So as I mentioned earlier, if you are interested to get this beautiful little kit or any other filters available on the Freewheel website, please have a look at the description down below, because I've put all the details information, including the discount code of 10%. So anything you purchase online with my discount code will give you 10% discount. Do not hesitate to contact them. These guys are great. Customer service is impeccable, and the quality of the filters is really, really good. So I would recommend them without hesitation. I've been using them in Norway recently, and I was very pleased with the result. There's no change of colors whatsoever, and it worked very well with the gear I've got. They're doing filters for drones as well, for video cameras, for everything. There's a huge amount of filters you can find on their website. So click on the link below in the description to find out more about what they're doing. And once again, if you have any question, do not hesitate to contact me. I will be very happy to respond to any of your questions regarding filters, setups, or any other question you have. For those who are interested to learn more about the entire method about long exposure photography and minimalism photography, either send me a direct message on my website via the contact form, or message me via YouTube or Instagram. I'm available there as well, so feel free to contact me and message me. I have some workshops planned around Europe mainly at the moment, where you can come along and then learn those techniques and how to produce and create minimalist long exposure photography. So feel free to have a look at my website, browse on the workshop page, and then look at what would be interesting for you, depending on where you're located, depending on the nature of the subject we will be covering. There's a lot of details in there, but if there's more you need to know, feel free to contact me. I'll be happy to respond to your questions. It is now getting closer to sunset time. It's not sunset yet. I've got a good 45 minutes to 50 minutes to an hour, let's say. So I'm getting ready. I'm going back to the original shot I wanted to do this morning, which I could not get properly because of the light conditions. So now I've switched angle. I'm doing the same composition but reversed from the opposite side. So I'm trying to see how much of the reflection I can gain in the water to be able to gain presence for my subject. 30 seconds, which is not enough, so I'm going to push to 40 seconds. Exposure time, f8, ISO 100, and I'm trying to see how much I can get over there. Because I still got some disparity between the brightness of the sky and the brightness of the water, then I'm using this gradient filter at the top just to kill a little bit more the actual light in the sky. And now I have a great reflection popping out on the water, which I'm very pleased with. So that's going to be a nice shot, I think. So I'm glad. The light is quite strong still, as you can see where I'm standing now, at the back of my head. But that's okay. There's a thin layer of cloud acting as a diffuser, which means my subject is not over bright in some areas, which is great. That's what I want. So I've got some nice reflection of the subject in the water. That's better than this morning, which was not ideal at all, I have to admit. It was a bit of a waste of time. I should have come up much earlier to get sunrise properly. That's fine. I've missed sunrise, I've got sunset, and the colors are getting very nice now, so I'm pleased with this. The back of the sky is getting very dark as well for some reason, but that is not a big issue for what I'm planning to shoot. Sunset is now happening. It's quite busy tonight because it's been such a lovely day that everyone came out now for sunset, so it's packed up trying to catch the last light of the day, and then the reflection is great, so I'm very pleased about that. It's been tricky all day, but at least now I've got sunset, so I'm very pleased. I'm using a light gradient filter plus a 6-stop filter to just have a long exposure for the water to get a better reflection. The reflection is quite pleasant, but with the long exposure it will come out even better. So that's why I'm doing at least a 40-second exposure to get the best out of the reflection, smooth out the water, and then increase the sharpness of my picture. So always check your Instagram once you take a test shot to see how far you are in terms of brightness, if you want more brightness or less, and adjust accordingly, either your time of exposure or your ISO or the filters. This is now the last shot of the day. It's getting dark, but there's still some light, so I'm using my Freewell 6-stop filter, magnetic, which is perfect for this. 6-stop is too much. 60 seconds is already dark. Let's swap it to a 3-stop filter. Up, taking out the 6-stop, 3 stops, boom, same again, 60-second exposure time. Let's see what's going on. I'm glad I managed to save the day with the evening though, with sunset, because the entire day has been a bit of a waste of time, as I said earlier. It's not been great. Well, having said that though, if you like that kind of content, do not hesitate to hit the like button. And don't forget, click on the subscribe button as well. It's very important for my work. And if you want notification, hit the bell button, and every time a new video comes out, you will receive a notification telling you that the video is up. And if you're interested to get such pack or any other packs or any other filters, even individually, you will benefit of a discount with the promo code indicated in my description. Thank you for watching till the end, my friends.